Okay, so this is going to be my official Dmitry Bivol versus Lyndon Arthur prediction video. Um, yeah, so and people know I'm a Dmitry Bivol fan. He needed to come back quicker than he did. Lyndon Arthur's not a bad fighter, though. The guy can fight. For those of you who might not know, this wasn't Bivol's biggest layoff either. Eddie Hearn kept him on the shelf for 18 months after Dmitry Bivol beat Lenin Castillo in either 2018 or 2019. Eddie Hearn put him on the shelf for a year and a half back then, too. That's something people aren't mentioning. Eddie Hearn, like I said before, does not give a shit about you unless you're British or you can make him a lot of money. And Bivol makes decent money, but not that kind. But let's start by going through the tail of the tape. Dmitry Bivol is the WBA light heavyweight champion of the world. He stands at 6 foot flat. He has a 72-inch reach. He's 33 years old, or will be 33 by the time the fight gets here. And his record reads 21 wins, 0 defeats. And he has 11 wins coming by way of knockout. Now, Bivol, like I say, he's an interesting case. He's made 10 title defenses of his WBA title. Now, that's fairly historic shit. I will say there's only been a handful of guys to make that amount of title defenses in the light heavyweight division. I believe this will be Dmitry Bivol's 11th title defense. Now, Lyndon Arthur, he's a good, tough British fella, or whatever, English, whatever the fuck it is. He stands at 6'2". His reach isn't available. He's 32 years old. His record reads 23-1 with 16 wins coming by way of knockout. But Lyndon Arthur is good at putting his punches together. And I don't think he's the biggest puncher in the whole world, but he does have some kind of power. This is a fight where Dmitry Bivol will need to be wary of Lyndon Arthur's long frame, his sufficient power, and his ability to put punches together. So those are some things that Bivol's going to have to watch out for from Lyndon Arthur, because Lyndon Arthur is going to come to make a fight out of it. And, and I can go over this. It's a shame the Beterbiev fight didn't happen. We all already saw what happened when Bivol fucked up Canelo. I mean, Bivol is a pound-for-pound fighter. He is. You have to have him on your pound-for-pound list. Because he beat Canelo, who was, in most people's eyes, not mine, but most other people's eyes, the consensus #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world at the time. And the man's been a long reigning champion with 10 title defenses, and he fought some other good fighters. He fought Jean Pascal. He fought Joe Smith. He fought Zurdo Ramirez. And I know people try to discredit that Zurdo Ramirez win after the fact, bro. Because before it was, Zurdo Ramirez, he's 46-0. He's gonna get revenge for Canelo and blah 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 and all that bullshit. Or 44-0, whatever the fuck he was. So you can't take away from that win. That was a good win from Bivol. The guy probably had fucking 30 pounds on him. He's bigger than him, and he was 44-0 or whatever the fuck it was. So it's not like Bivol has only fought Canelo, bro. Like, he's fought some good contenders as well. And that's why I bring that up, man. And that's why, even though the Beterbiev fight hasn't happened yet, which I pray to God that it does sooner rather than later, but I still hold Bivol in high self-esteem, with or without the Beterbiev fight. You know what I'm saying? And I'll hold them in both a much higher standard if they do actually fight each other. But look, man, this is the best that Bivol could get at the moment. The other person I would have liked to see him fight was Alexander Gvozdyk, just because Alexander Gvozdyk is a former champion. Gvozdyk was WBC champion before he unified with Beterbiev and got knocked out. And Gvozdyk also put Adonis Stevenson into a fucking coma back in the day. So that's the fight I want to see from Dmitry Bivol. Should he get past Lyndon Arthur and the Beterbiev fight can't be made. But yeah, man, Lyndon Arthur's a tall kid. He's a lanky kid. He's got good power. He's pretty good at putting his punches together. So this is somebody that, Bivol's going to have to be a little bit wary of. Now, with that being said, obviously I'm going with Dmitry Bivol to win this fight. I mean, that shouldn't be any surprise to anybody. The guy's a pound for pound level fighter. I mean, it sucks that he had this big layoff and that, but that doesn't take away the fact of what he's already accomplished. You understand? So, but yeah, it's good to see Dmitry Bivol get back in the ring. You know, hopefully he's a lot more active in 2024 than he was in 2023. Hopefully we get to see him fight 2 or 3 times in 2024. And I think he will be more active next year. I think he's going to fight Lyndon Arthur, and then he's going to try to get the Beterbiev fight made. Should Beterbiev get past Callum Smith, of course, which that's a whole nother conversation that we'll have in the near future. But you know, should he do that, I think we're going to see a lot more Bivol going forward in 2024. All right. Now, I want everybody to have a look at something. Okay. This is the Ring Magazine's top 10 light heavyweights in the world right now. Now, back in a couple years ago, this division was a lot more loaded than it is now. A couple years ago, you still had an old Kovalev floating around. You had Eliter Alvarez. You had Joe Smith. Zerto Ramirez was still down there. So this was a lot more stacked division, I think, 2, 3, 4 years ago, in my opinion. But if you look at the top 7 in this division, right? Bivol, they got Bivol at 1, Beterbiev at 2. I'll leave up for debate who should be number 1 and 2. If anything, it should probably be Beterbiev, to be honest. But Beterbiev's got a tough fight ahead of him with Callum Smith, which I'll get into in the near future, right? Now, you look at number 4, 5, and 6, Anthony Yarde, Joshua Buatsi, and Dan Aziz. All 3 of them were given offers to fight Dmitry Bivol, and they all turned it down. Buatsi and Aziz are allegedly going to be fighting each other. I know that fight was set and it got pushed back or canceled for some reason. And Anthony Yarde chose to fight a bum instead of fight Dmitry Bivol. So there wasn't really anybody available for Dmitry Bivol in the top of the division. Like I say, this division was stacked a few years ago, but not so much anymore. Like I say, a couple years ago, you had Jean Pascal, Kovalev, Eliter Alvarez, Joe Smith, Zerto Ramirez, and all these guys floating around the divisions. But take that into account that Dmitry Bivol tried to fight number 4, 5, and 6, and they all didn't fight him. Right? And number 2 and 3 in Beterbiev and Callum Smith are fighting each other. The only other guy on this list I would like to see Bivol fight is Gvozdyk. And if Buatsi and Aziz have a good fight, which they're supposed to be having in the future, and they put on a good fight, then maybe he could be a future opponent for Bivol. But as far as this fight goes with Lyndon Arthur, man, I actually think Lyndon Arthur is going to give Dmitry Bivol a little bit more trouble than people are expecting. Just stylistically, he's a long, lanky guy, taller guy, has some decent power and pretty good at putting his punches together. But ultimately, I do see Dmitry Bivol coming away with the victory in this one. I'm going to play it safe and say he wins on decision in a competitive fight where he wins about 8-4 or something like that. But all in all, I'm happy to see Dmitry Bivol get back in the ring. I actually, like I say, I think this fight with Lyndon Arthur is going to be a little bit more competitive than people expect. The only problem is with Lyndon Arthur, he hasn't really fought nobody outside of Anthony Yarde, and they went 1-1 with each other. So he has, you know, his resume is dog shit. Outside those 2 Anthony Yarde fights, which he went 1-1, his resume is complete dog shit, and that's another thing Dmitry Bivol's got over him. Experience at the highest level, you know. So, yeah, good fight. I think it's a little bit of an underrated fight. I expect Lyndon Arthur to make it interesting, but ultimately I do expect Dmitry Bivol to come out victorious, and I think, like I say, it'll be a better fight than people are expecting, but he'll come out victorious in an 8-4 kind of fight. So I got Bivol, UD, 8-4 type of fight in a somewhat fan-friendly affair. That being said, please be sure to hit the like button and subscribe if you're new to the channel. And if you feel like donating, the Cash App will be in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching. Go Bivol. Like I say, UD 8-4 in a more competitive fight than expected. Salute, everybody, and God bless.